All right, now it's official recording now. Okay, so back to going over the syllabus. If you missed the first like 5 or 6 minutes of the recording, we're just going over the syllabus. So be sure that you do that. Okay, it's in the Blackboard page in the section labeled syllabus. There'll be a YouTube channel. I think there's still some videos there from previous classes. I'll probably go back and kind of X those out because I probably should. All right, but I'll add our recordings to that YouTube channel and the URL is there. And that way, if you miss a class or if your kids start screaming during the class or your cat jumps on you during the class and it's distracting, you can go back and look at the video. Yeah, there you go. I am pretty sure. Oh, that's my first typo. Yeah, the class, and I even said that when I said it, when I went over. Yeah, okay. So the class definitely is from the beginning to 1877. And you will notice that as we go through the rest of this stuff. So thanks. Okay, typo number 1. It's weird that I wouldn't have noticed that. So apologies. I teach both, of course, and mostly the other one last semester. So from colonization, this is also where you find out that I don't type well. I always wonder about that because I've typed so many things, to 1877. So apologies for error number 1. Good catch on that. All right. Yeah, I don't want you to take the same thing twice. Yeah, I apologize. And I even put like 1301 up there. Oh, darn. Okay, but thank you. And then I'll try to remember to correct that and repost it as well. So that's typo number 1. Good job. Maybe there's just one. All right, I'm checking the chat. Did you find another one already? Yeah, I saw that commercial with George Washington. That's odd. Yeah. I remember when Abraham Lincoln was a vampire slayer as well. That was distressing for me. Okay, so we have typo number 1 out of the way. YouTube channel will post stuff there. You got to read the book. So if you haven't gotten the book, you probably should. We'll go over probably chapter 1-ish tomorrow. And if you were here a little later, I have doctor's appointment at 11. So class will only be till 10 tomorrow. So I apologize for that already. I won't do that very often, but I had surgery I wasn't planning on. And then for some reason, they like to follow up. It's so crazy. All right. So textbook is listed here. You can buy the book. Where would I buy the book? The bookstore has the thing. They do these online now, so you could do that. You could probably do an actual book where they ship it to you really quickly because everything shows up at your door quickly nowadays. Somebody asked me, would the 5th edition work as well as the 6th? It's probably. I really don't look at the editions super carefully. You should be able to access it online. Somebody's posted that there's a cheap rental. I saw a PDF version online. I was looking because every once in a while there's a rogue university that posts these online for free, which is 100% illegal and a copyright violation. It's not cool. But I was looking because it happens sometimes, and I would tell you that I would never post it because I don't want to be the one that pays the $8 million fine. But I didn't see it, but I did see a PDF download that was really cheap. It was like $2 or $3. But I also worry about those things a little because the website was goofy, but one of your classmates has already downloaded it for about $8 or something. And the digital thing, you'll be able to find it $20, $30. You could start with the bookstore, but you could also just do a Google search like we all do with everything. And my guess is you'll find a lot of options. Okay. Yeah, there you go. There usually are ways to find the things online. And yeah, I had students that did that. It was some university in South Florida that was posting all of the books. It's like, oh my gosh, those guys must have gotten in trouble. Okay, sorry. Water to get rid of the pollen from the rain, I guess. All right, so textbook. Oh, the reason you're taking the course because you love U.S. history, or because you have to get a degree. Right, there's second typo. Dang it. Okay, all right, 1301. Ah, okay. Dang. But see, I did get the right book. Volume 1 is the 1301 part. It's the first half. I think I put the ISBN in an announcement. And that website should take you to where the book is. You can buy it from there. But I think that's not even the bookstore website. That's the publisher website. So you'll have many options of where to buy it. The ISBN's in an announcement. So that'll help you make sure you get the right book. But if you get something called Give Me Liberty, Volume 1, Foner, 6th edition, Seagull, you're in good shape. And there's like a brief edition, a combined edition, Seagull edition. All I know is the brief edition is probably more brief. The Seagull one is shorter than the regular version. So. All right, grades. We're going to have 300 points. So 90% of those will get you an A, 80% of those will get you a B, 70% of those will get you a C. Anything below that will make you unhappy unless you go to some really odd university where they accept D's for credit, or you have some program where they clearly don't value U.S. history, which can happen from time to time. Due dates will be on the calendar, Blackboard page. Each will have an assignment. You've got to not email me your assignments. Don't do that. Just answer, write them, type them, and then submit them in the assignments page, please, please, please. There are 8 million reasons I need you to do that. Once I grade them, then it goes directly into the grade book. Then we're all happy. Also, it does do a little plagiarism check, which is useful to me. So please, please, in the assignments page, okay? And don't turn in your stuff late because our class is short and it's gonna be hard enough for you to get stuff done and me to get stuff graded. So, check out the due dates, plan on this stuff ahead of time. I'm not saying that you can't, stuff happens, I get it. Kid gets sick, you get sick. I think everybody and their brother, well, there's always something wrong. Yeah. So, if something happens, you can let me know. That's cool. But if something happens with every assignment, that's a problem. Okay. So our official is 2 assignments, possible penalty if you turn them in late. But late is also relative. It is. So like if stuff's due at 11:59, which is when I typically make stuff done, but you turn it in at 12:05, I don't care. But if it's due at 11:59 and you turn it in at 8 p.m. the next day, that's a problem. It is a problem. That's late, and you should expect to lose a couple points for that. And you don't want to do that because we don't have that many assignments and you want all the points. There's not a final. Just hang on. The assignments are coming. Okay. No. And there's nothing really cumulative. We're just doing 1 unit at a time and there's 4 units. So we're getting there, I promise. Always the grades. Everybody wants to know about the grades. Okay, so you gotta come to class. I've already had a couple people email like, is it okay if I never come and I just watch the YouTube videos? No. And it's not me, not my idea. It's whoever designed this course. So you're supposed to come. It's a requirement. So please do. I get that occasionally it could happen. You get sick, something weird happens. Got to take the kid. You're like me. You have the emergency surgery and you've got to go to the follow-up visit. So stuff happens. I mean, it already happened to me. So I get it. But you got to make your best effort. And if your job says you can't come right now, ask your job if there's any way you can come in to work a couple hours later. I know how that is. Or you might be able to switch classes to one where they kind of expect that you're not, where it's not designed that you check in. Okay. So All right. And I'm going to try, don't leave early because I got to try to do the attendance one more time. I only got about a third of you checked off because I don't know. It is, yeah. Okay. All right. And if you don't come to class, but you do watch the video, see, here's the thing, and you and I both know this is true. If you don't come to class, you're also not going to go back and watch the YouTube video. And don't tell me that you are. I know a couple of you will. But here's what typically would happen. I would say, like, just make a comment on the YouTube video that you watched it, or make a comment about it. Also, here's another thing I noticed about the YouTube videos. People post inappropriate things on the YouTube videos, like URL links that's your mom wouldn't appreciate you watching, stuff like that. So if somebody posts a link, please don't click on it. I'll try to go back and remove them all. This was a huge problem for me last semester because I taught a dual credit high school class. It was not cool at all. But the YouTube channel, I would tell the students, like, go on there and make a comment, and I would post the YouTube video, and then literally 2 minutes later, somebody posted a comment that they watched the hour-long video in 2 minutes. No. Don't do that either. I'll notice that. Don't do that. Okay. But try to attend class because most of us aren't going to go back and watch the. Okay. All right. Make your best effort. Withdrawal. If you don't like the class, if you need to drop the class, just do it. I'm not going to withdraw you for non-attendance or anything like that. So I figured that's your deal. You take care of that. My deal is to try to take role and teach the class. I know I can teach the class. The taking the role part is always hard. The links to the academic calendar tells you the last time you can drop, which I think is about a week before the class ends. So you'll know, you'll have a pretty good idea what your grade is at that point. You can always make comments during class. I don't know why we have a student discipline section, but there's certain sections we have to have on here. I assume everybody's going to be nice. If your camera's on, that's cool. I mean, that's fine. It's nice to see your faces every once in a while, but no requirement at all. So if it is on, make sure that there's nothing in the screen that you wouldn't want us to see. I think or that we wouldn't want to see. Maybe you want us to see it, but we don't want to see it. I think that I have it set to where you're muted when you come in. It only took me like 2 semesters to figure out how to do that. Because, yeah, people arguing. Last semester, I had somebody come out on their way in. They were telling their friend they were logging into this class with this terrible professor who didn't really know much about history. It was really boring and got off the subject a lot. It's like, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. And then I had a husband and wife that fought every morning. So yeah, there you go. So mute, it's good. Freedom of expression, goodness. If you have a political view that seems relevant, I don't know that we'll have as many relevant before the Civil War. Feel free to share it. Theoretically, you won't know what my political views are. I know sometimes you can tell. It surely is not my goal to sit around and talk about politics. I'm mostly just about history. Please don't worry about if your political views are different than mine. Is that going to cause you any trouble? It is not. I assume we're different ages, we're from different backgrounds. Why would we think the same way? So I assume that you and I think differently because we should. So don't worry about any of that stuff. If you say some stuff that's not factual or it's disrespectful or something like that, I'll mention that. And also, you'll probably notice, like in your work, like when you submit work, if you state an opinion in there, I will often just state the opposite opinion just to have you think about it, not to argue with you necessarily. So that happens from time to time. Most of the questions are not necessarily your opinion. There are a couple. The one about Reconstruction, I think, was Reconstruction a success or failure, and why do you think that? Which is a fine question. So, but you don't have to be able to answer that now. Student privacy, I'm only going to post your grades on Blackboard. I won't tell them to anybody I probably wouldn't even email them to you because your email is not terribly secure. Blackboard's fairly secure unless you give your login to someone else. Now, if you're a young person, like you live at the house and your parents pay for your stuff, they may tell you, like, I want your Blackboard login. Yeah, it's up to you because they pay for your stuff. But I'm posting your grade on the Blackboard section, grades section. That's where I'll do that. You ever have questions about them? Look first in the grade book. I have rubrics for everything. Well, not the quizzes, but I have rubrics for the other things that you turn in. And I always put comments about stuff, why I took points off or what I think you should have added. It'll say like good, but maybe consider this, that, or the other thing. So look there if you need feedback before you ask me for feedback, because I will provide it. I do that kind of automatically. So look there, and then feel free to ask for feedback as well. It doesn't offend me in any way. But ask me during, like, while we're still in session. Don't ask me a month after I post grades. That's not very helpful. Okay. All right, and the FERPA thing, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, that means I can't talk to other people about your grades, post stuff, that sort of thing. There you go. ADA, if you need accommodations or modifications, you do that through Student Accessibility Services, and then you send those to me. Those are typically things like extra time, don't count off for spelling. I'm probably not going to count off for spelling. Probably. There are occasions where, no, I don't think that I count off for spelling. If there's on the book reviews, I do, but you guys are not going to, I changed that assignment this semester. So, and extra time, you'll have quizzes, 25 question quizzes, and I typically allow an hour for those. So that typically fits in to everybody's extra time requirement. However, please send me whatever you get from SAS and I'll do what I'm supposed to do. So there you go. All right. And sometimes it's like provide a copy of the notes. I do that for everybody anyway on the Blackboard page. So hopefully they won't have 2 typos like the syllabus so far. All right. So check in with SAS if you need to. Cheating. Please don't do this. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Okay. So you're not supposed to go online and copy somebody else's work and paste it in and turn it in as yours. Did I really need to tell you that? And when you take a quiz, you're not supposed to look up each question. And you're really not supposed to be looking it up in the book or checking your notes, that sort of thing. You're not supposed to. Okay, you're just supposed to take the quiz. So don't cheat. Don't cheat. The easiest way for me to notice that you've cheated is in the written assignments. So I'll notice if you do that. Also, I know that I've mentioned to you that I use when you submit the assignments, it goes through a plagiarism check. It's not my first year to teach, so I'm aware that if I give you all the same assignment, especially if you're talking about a document, that the plagiarism software is going to suggest that a portion of your assignment is not authentic. Even if you answer the question that I pose to you, if you put the question in your answer, that part of the question is going to show up as plagiarized, or that part of your answer where you've stated the question. Well, I'll know that that's my question. You know what I'm saying? So I would never, ever say that you had done any sort of cheating unless I can provide the source, which is often another student, and I'll notice that, by the way, or an online source. Just don't do it. Please don't do it. Just don't. And there's not really a good, I know that people do this because they're pressed for time or lazy, or they want a certain grade or whatever, but there's not too many mysteries in this class. I'm telling you ahead of time almost everything that you need to know to turn in, to study, that sort of thing. So I think this is pretty straightforward sort of thing. Don't do the cheating, okay? Don't do the cheating. comment. All right. And here's a list of stuff that I'm supposed to put in here. All the things that you should know by the time that you're done with this class, and you'll know these things. They're kind of general overview sort of things. They're not questions you have to answer. They're not quiz questions. They're just general overview sort of things. And you'll know them, so it'll be good. So there's the list. I could read them to you, but would that be fun? No. Okay. There you go. High Federalists. Those guys are pretty weird. All right. So yeah, there's a bunch of things you're going to have to know. Yeah. Whew. Tracing the entire Civil War. Okay, we can do that. All right, class schedule. All right, and I borrowed this kind of from somebody else and modified it a little. Summer classes are a pain. I don't know why you're taking it. I do know why you're taking it. You're either getting ahead or you went to UT last semester and you had way too much fun and didn't do your work, and your parents said, look, you don't pass some classes at ACC, we're not going to pay for UT. Or you're paying for your own stuff and you recognize like, hey, this thing's cheaper, and if I take a little bit at a time, it's easier. But it means that you're going to spend a lot of time on this class for about 4.5 weeks. So you're going to need to read a chapter or 2 or 4 a week, 3 or 4 a week. And you're going to have to answer some questions. You're going to have to take a quiz. You're going to have to come to class. So if you're spending 3 or 4 hours a day on this class, that's probably pretty normal. And sorry for taking up so much of your life, but you did choose this class. So there you go. And they've said this forever. Even when I was in college back in some other century, they told us 2 to 3 hours outside for every hour you spend in class. So for 3-hour class means you're spending 9 hours outside of class for your 3-hour class. And oh, dang, that's a lot of work. So 3 or 4 hours a day would be pretty normal. A couple hours during class, couple hours after class or before, or how, whatever your time is. Oh gosh, yeah. So I'm trying to keep the reading. Your textbook, 450 pages for a textbook. I know it sounds terrible, but remember, you're reading at like 20 pages at a time. So it's like the little drop. It's not so bad. Also, this is a really fine textbook. As far as textbooks go, and you go like, that's a stupid thing to say. I've seen many textbooks. This one's nicely written. It's very concise. Also has really good illustrations. I think as much as you're going to like a textbook, you'll like this one. Pretty straightforward. I also like that it's written by one author because there's some sort of continuity and consistency in theme. You'll notice he likes to talk about freedom and liberty. You'll notice that. And also he's a pretty good historian. So yeah, all right, there's that. But you want to read the book, and that's going to take some time. And then actually doing your assignments is going to take some time. All right, but you've got to look at the whole calendar. You got to figure out what you need to do when. So I've got kind of this little outline thing. I think you got to read the first chapter at some point this week. This class is going to be a little short tomorrow. We'll probably won't get through all of chapter 1 tomorrow, and then we'll wrap it up on Thursday, and then maybe get into chapter 2 a little bit. Chapters 2 through 4 the following week, 5 through 8 the week after, 9 through 12 the week after, 13 through 15 the week after. So it's typically 3 or 4 chapters a week, with a little bit of an exception. This week we're a little slower. And then we'll look at the due dates here. You've really got to look at when stuff is due as well. And you're about to see all of those dates. So turn stuff in on time. Do a little bit of work each day. It's going to be so much easier than doing 10 or 12 hours on the weekend if you can manage it. I also understand everybody's schedules are different, so I'm not judging you. I'm just suggesting that if you want to keep your sanity, a couple hours every day will be better than, okay. All right, so that's my suggested reading schedule, and here's when stuff is due. Okay, so each unit will have a quiz that has a 25 has 25 multiple choice questions. It will have one assignment, like unit question, and then it'll have one document assignment. So you have one prepared question. You have one um, document assignment, and then you have one unit quiz for each unit. And all of those things will do, excuse me, will be due Friday, 11:59 on the dates that are listed. So that last day of the week. So for the unit 1, it'll be like our class will be the 10th, and then on the 11th, everything is due. Our last class for unit 2 will be the 17th, and then everything's due on the 18th. So now you can turn it in before. The quiz will go live like 12:01 on a Wednesday, so you don't have to do the quiz on Friday. But you have to do the quiz by Friday. Same, and you can turn all this stuff in early. As soon as I've posted the assignment, if you have it done and you want to turn it in, you go right ahead. Now, here are some things people ask all the time. Can I do the assignment more than once? No. Do I want to grade it more than once? No. Can I take the quiz more than once? No. And once you've seen all the quiz questions, doesn't that seem like an advantage to you? Seems a little unfair to the other students. And I know one of you's thinking, well, can't you let everybody take it twice? No. It's not your high school history class where the coach tells you all the questions ahead of time. No. Okay. So I do have a study list for you, stuff I would study if I were you, if I were taking the quiz. And the questions, you know those right now, actually, if you really want to know them. Okay. So notice that the due dates are Fridays. 11:59 is the official due date time. I don't think I say that anywhere, but Friday, 11:59. If stuff's late, you can still turn it in. So, if you finish at 12:03 on Saturday, still turn it in. And with 12:03, you really don't need to give me an explanation. If it's Sunday morning, you probably should send me an email and tell me what happened. Quizzes, you'll notice this when you submit stuff. It is possible for you to take things more than once and submit them more than once. The reason for that is not because I want you to redo it. I don't. I want you to do it one time. The reason for that is there are occasions where you start something and the technology fails. So that allows you to go and log back in. Now, if that happens, you should also send me an email that said, I logged in, but lightning struck my house and I lost power. That really could happen recently, couldn't it? But let me know if there's a reason, you logged in, something happened. Now, if that happens every time, again, that's pretty suspicious. Also, it times how long you're in there. So if you say, well, I logged in and then seconds later, I lost power, but it says to me that you took 45 minutes on the quiz and then took it again, that's going to be a problem as well. With technology, there's always some sort of tracking, but there's also always an opportunity for something to go wrong. So, I've built in more than one time that you can access stuff because sometimes technology fails. I'm aware of that, I promise. All right, and here it lists all the subjects of the chapters. I mean, the overall clearly is not everything in the chapter, but all right. So here's our plan. So today, we're for chapter 1 and for the first day of class, you read the syllabus, get the book, that sort of stuff. So you got to get ready. So, oh crud, I left the weekly question things in there too. All right, but weekly questions 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, their number goes with the chapter they're in. We'll look at those in a minute. Now, during the long semester, the 16-week, when they turn in a question for each chapter, you have a question for each chapter, you pick one per unit. So you get to pick the question you like the most. And that should be fairly clear in the assignments. Please don't do all of them. Are you listening? Please don't do all of the questions. You've got to, if you read the directions, everything's going to be super clear. I hope. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's it. Okay. Yay. All right. Do you have any questions at this moment about the syllabus? We're going to look at the weekly questions and the document assignment here in a minute. All right. I'm going to stop the sharing for a sec. Also, I'm going to go back and check the roll before we go, so don't just check out really quick. And also let me know if your name is not the same as your name on the syllabus, because, you know, I got to check to see if you're here. All right, and somebody asked a question. Let me read it. Is the one weekly question the same as the unit question? Sort of. So there's 4 questions per unit, and you pick one. So the weekly question, I should have said the chapter question. That's what I should have called it. So I'll probably go back and change that as well. So let me make a note to do that weekly question, chapter question. So there's 3 or 4 questions per unit. You choose the one you like, and then you turn it in. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Do you guys have other questions that you would like to ask at this moment? Don't have to ask them now. We still have time. Lots of time, don't we? You're going like, dang, that's still a lot of time. All right. Let's see. Oops. I wanted to share the assignment. Let's see if I found it. Dang. That's so irritating because I opened it before class. I did. You can trust me on this. I got to go back and revise that syllabus a little bit, don't I? So I'll fix that after class and repost. Let me find the dang questions. Dang questions. I wonder if I can share the. Have you guys logged into the Blackboard page? Because that's one thing that you really, really need to do today. So be sure that you log into the Blackboard page so you can see all the stuff that's there. I wish I could show the Blackboard page. No, I can't. Let me see. Oh, there's a way on there that I can share sound, like if I wanted to show a video. All right, let me look in the summer file. See if I put it in the right place. Summer. Here we go. All right, Unit 1 questions. Let's look at those first. All right, and then I'll check, because I know somebody typed something in the chat while I was looking for those. Okay, good. No, I'm glad if you guys have looked at the Blackboard page. There should be stuff on there that's helpful. That's always my goal. All right, here we go. Unit 1 question. And I'll go back and kind of relabel the weekly question to the chapter question. Okay. So for each chapter, like question number 1 goes with chapter 1. Question number 2 goes with chapter 2. Question number 3 goes with yeah, I don't have to keep saying that, do I? Okay, so the number of the questions also indicate the chapter numbers where you can find the material to devise an answer. For summer 2021, choose 1 question per unit for submission. So this is unit 1, chapters 1 through 4. These are the things due next Friday. So you will look at these 4 questions and you'll decide, oh, which of these 4 questions would I like to submit? And then you'll submit those in the assignments page for the unit 1 weekly question, which I may need to relabel to unit question. Okay, all right, I'm looking in the chat. What's the name of the first chapter? That's a good question. Let me look, hang on. Okay, see, I always have the book handy. Do you guys have the book? Okay, so chapter 1, I don't know, and I think it's called A New World. A New World. No, I know it wasn't new for the folks who are here. I know that. I know. I'm not so old that I was part of that. But you're welcome. Okay. Thank you for. Thomas was way faster than me. That was good. All right. Okay. So the question for chapter 1, and we'll talk about these when we talk about the chapters as well. So it won't be like a huge mystery, and that way you can ask stuff and you can maybe decide which question you want to answer. Compare Indian society with that of Europeans. What differences were there? Similarities. I also know, oh goodness, historians, just like everybody else, kind of struggle with what terms are proper, what terms are not. So if you could say indigenous, American Indian, Native American, you say whatever that you like. I think the term the book uses is Indian, recognizing that there's a country called India and these, yeah, I know. So differences and similarities between the indigenous folks and the European folks who came to visit but wouldn't leave. We know they weren't just visiting. There's not anything due this week. Yeah, no, I sort of did that on purpose because I knew that I was going to have to miss some of class tomorrow, and some of you won't get the book right away. And yeah, so that way you're not a week behind for the entire class. So I know that also kind of makes the end of the class a little condensed, but by then you have no excuses. You should have all your stuff. So make sure you've got to get your book, got to log on to Blackboard, we got to make sure that you're registered, we got to do all that stuff this week, okay? All right. So the first question, let's see, differences, similarities. Be sure to include in your analysis about religion, land, and gender roles. In the book, when you look at the book, you'll notice that it's really specific about this stuff. Also, please let me point out that these questions are designed to be answered from your textbook. So these questions go with the textbook. So in your textbook, there'll be a section where it talks about all of this stuff. There is. So this is why it's not going to be nearly as appropriate for you to Google this and then just answer from something online. My assumption requirement really is that you use your textbook to answer this. There's a lot of reasons for that. Reason number one, I'm pretty sure Eric Foner, Dr. Foner, is a pretty good historian who uses credible sources. If you've learned nothing from current events over the last couple of years, the credibility of the source really matters. So we can find anything and everything online. We can. That doesn't mean that it's true or that it's from a good source. I'm not going to suggest that you're not smart enough to look at the sources and decide which sources are good enough. You probably are. Whether you're going to take the time to do that, I don't know. Now, I recognize maybe some of you are pretty into US history. You're like, I really don't like Eric Foner. I think his time at Columbia really showed that he was this or that. And I read this book that he read, and I saw a couple of lectures, and I really think he's a little more to the left or right than I think he should be. And okay, but he is a credentialed historian who's taught for a while. He uses fairly well accepted sources. That is also not to say that, okay, we're clarifying, let's see. But that's also not to say that he's the only source that has any credibility. I get that as well. And you're welcome to look up other stuff. Just don't ignore your textbook. That's all I'm saying. So to clarify, we will have the weekly question that we just discussed, read about, but for the assignment, we will only have to choose one. Yes, that is correct. So you have all 4 questions that we'll go over by next Friday. By next Thursday, really, we're not going to have class on Fridays. So we'll go over all of these questions in the next week. You pick one, you answer it, and then you submit the answer. There's also a sample answer on Blackboard that kind of gives you an idea how much detail. I would say, since you're doing 1 question per unit, more detail is better than less. Specific examples always, always, always. Yeah. So the more specific you are, the better you are. And if you want to be that person that asks, how long should my answer be? You know what your professor always says, long enough to answer the question. I will suggest to you that if it doesn't fill up a page, that is probably not long enough. I always have people turn in answers that are the same length as the question. It's like if it took me more time to write the question than it took you to write the answer, hey, you're not passing. I'm just saying. So, and remember too, I've already done what I can to kind of decrease the amount of work that you do because it's a short class. So you should not add to that. Yeah, don't make your work really, really brief. And don't give me any of this foolishness. I'm just a concise person. No, you need to give examples because I need to know that you know what you're talking about. And examples are the proof that you know what you're talking about. So, and you've got your textbook right there. You can use it while you write the answer. This is not like, a quiz or anything. You don't have to write this under duress. You have all the time you need and you have the resources you need. So each unit will have 3 or 4 questions, and then you will pick one of the questions and you'll submit it. Okay? All right. And these questions are listed in the course documents page. And I think in the course documents page, I've listed all the questions. So let me see if I can find the list of all the questions. Hmm. Sorry, I'm looking at my file. It's like, which one of those is the right one? Serna. What the heck? Okay. Excuse me. All right. I think I'm coming back here. All right. So these are all the questions, I think. Yeah. So you've got the Oh, and this has, I think I may have posted this actual paper. And again, you answer 1 per unit. I don't know if I made, I'll go back and double check on that. But all the questions, they're already here. So you know every question that you could possibly answer. And remember 1 per unit, okay? Also, all this stuff is true. It's got to be original. Make sure that you save your work because if something happens, like if you type directly into the assignment, which is fine, just before you submit it, copy and paste it into a Word document and save it. I would do it on a Word document first and then paste it into the assignments page. Yeah, that way it's a little more secure. So the Unit 1 questions are there, and remember the chapter and the number are the same. So the Unit 2 questions, 3 and 4. It's all there. So you already know what the questions are. Okay, and that's posted on the, what is the page called? The Blackboard page. Yeah, okay. And somebody asked about the quizzes. The quizzes are based primarily on the textbook as well. And cleverly enough, my lectures are based more on the textbook. And it's not because I don't know I know all kinds of other stuff, and I probably will throw that in from time to time. I will, yeah. But the reason I really wanted to base things, the lecture notes and the quizzes more on the textbook is that way it's easier for you to go back and refer to it. I know you can go back and watch the entire YouTube video, but I also know that nobody really wants to do that. And even if you do, it's still possible you could miss something. Because even if you're paying really close attention, we all check out for a minute or two, or a second or two, or you got a screaming kid, or the cat jumps on you or something. So yeah. Now I get it. All right. Um, let's see. So we've looked at, probably the next thing we want to look at is a document assignment. So let me see if I can find that one. I really did open all these things before class. It's irritating me that I can't find it. Okay. Unit 1 document assignment. Okay. All right. So normally we do this thing where you write a book review. What is your hurry, Thomas? Thomas, what is the rush? You need to finish the class without listening to any of my wisdom? Is that what's going on here? No, you could turn in every single assignment this weekend if you wanted. Well, not the document assignments because they're not all posted, but you could turn in 4 questions. You could do that this weekend. You could, are those all posted? I'll go back and post those if they're not posted. Yeah, you could turn in a lot of stuff early. The thing that you can't do is the quizzes. Those will be posted on the Wednesday of the week they're due. So yeah, you can turn in a lot of stuff early. I would suggest, I mean, you do whatever you want to do. Like if you go through and read the textbook and you're pretty self-motivated, self-driven, that sort of thing, that's fine. Most people, probably the lecture would be beneficial, maybe, and we're going to go over the questions during class. So that stuff might help, but no, you don't have to wait. Yeah, okay. But as far as, is it possible to finish the entire course? A little early, but I'm not going to make the quizzes live until the Wednesday before they're due. So I don't know if that's a good answer. That's an answer, though. It's an honest one. All right, let's look at where did the, dang it. There it is. Okay, document assignment. Okay, so typically what most of the history professors in ACC do is some sort of article review or book review. I usually do book review and I give you choice of books, which is like this huge, vast list of books that ACC has put together. And then, of course, I also tell you you could pick your own book if you don't like any of those books, because, the list is a little old, so it probably doesn't have anything written in the last 8 or 10 years. For historians, that's new, but for most people, that's old. So, but then I thought, you know what? Extra book, 5 weeks, I don't know. Let's go with documents. So we'll see how this goes. So I haven't put a sample of how to do, what a sample document analysis should look like. So I'll try to post that in the next couple of days. It means I actually have to sit down and do one, which I haven't done yet. But I'll try to post one of those. But you'll have the same questions pretty much each week. You'll just have a different document, and the document should have something to do with something in the unit, and it'll be something that we'll talk about as well. It won't be a complete mystery. I don't think we talk about the De las Casas document in the first chapter. I think it's more in the second chapter. And here's a semi-tricky part about this. I've got a link to the entire source. So if you want to read the whole thing, or at least this isn't the whole thing, you could read the whole thing, a short account of the destruction of the Indies. It's about 200 pages. It's not huge, but it's really repetitive. We'll talk about that when we talk about it. So you kind of will see the same thing over and over. So I've posted a link to a section of that book. It's a really brief book, and I'll tell you more about this when we talk tomorrow, really, or it's probably going to be on Monday when we talk about this. But this De las Casas fellow was a priest. He's Spanish. I'm sure that was hard to tell. And I think he'd been trained as a lawyer and a priest, which wasn't super uncommon for the educated class, which is the wealthy class, which is a really small percentage of folks. He decided that he wanted to help with missions in the New World. So he ends up living in the islands, the Caribbean islands, for about 50 years. So he spends a lot of time in the Americas. And he's going to say some really interesting and controversial things. Some of them you go like, wow, that's really forward thinking. And then some of you go like, you'll look at it and you go like, and that's also kind of racist. And he's a combination of forward thinking and racist and man of his time, ahead of his time. He's very human kind of dude, as we all are. But he's most known for telling the English king, and why did I say English? he wouldn't tell the English king, telling the Spanish royal family and the church, the Pope, that the Europeans, Spanish in particular, are mistreating the natives in the Americas, and that they're not treating them as equals in the eyes of God. And by equals, he doesn't necessarily mean they should have equal rights, right to property, because nobody even thought rich and poor folks should have that. But he meant that their souls were equal, so that they had equal opportunity for salvation, that they should not be enslaved, that sort of thing. So which is for his time very forward thinking. Now, you read the whole thing, you'll read it and you go like, well, it's pretty paternalistic. And he talks about them, the natives, as though they're really simple and not capable of complex thought. And yeah, there's that. But he also says we shouldn't enslave them or kill them, which weirdly enough for the era is forward thinking. Okay, so uh, the excerpt is available, the whole thing is there, but I've got a smaller section in the course documents page. And then these questions really are about the smaller section in the course documents page. I guess it would make sense maybe for me to I could just paste the document section in there, but it seems like it's about 5 pages is why I didn't. So hopefully this all makes sense. So the short account of the destruction of the Indies, this is a full online source, but what I want you to do is read the excerpt in the course documents page. Yeah. And then answer these questions like who's the author, what do they do for, and the who is the author part of this. And you can answer this by just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you could turn it into an essay. And I'm happy with either. I would not consider one inferior and one superior. I just want you to talk about all the stuff, because this is, when you look at a piece of historical data, these are the kinds of questions you should ask yourself. Who wrote this? Why are they writing it? Who are they writing it to? Are they, because of who they are and what they're writing, is this going to be a more honest assessment? Is this a public assessment? Is it a private assessment? A lot of times private assessments are more honest, that sort of thing. When was it written? Where was it written? Who's the intended audience? What type of document was it? Document, pamphlet? Is it government issued document? Newspaper article, diary entry. In this instance, it's a book, part of a book. And how does it impact the credibility of the document? What's the general message of the document? What is it trying to say? So that's kind of a little general summary. What perspective does it represent? What is the significance of the document? Why does it matter? Weaknesses and strengths of the document. Do you have any historical reason to doubt or trust it? And some of that becomes a little more individual as well. Like I've used this document before when I taught an advanced high school history class. And what we talked about was, and we'll talk about this assignment again. We will. This is not the only time that I'll talk about this, I promise. But we'll talk about it probably on Monday. But the fact that a priest wrote this, for some people, like I had some students who were like super devout Catholics, and it's like, oh, the priest wrote it, then I trust it, because their experience, personal experience with priests has been very positive, and their experience with the church was very positive. So their overall impression of the church was positive. So their impression of the priest was positive. And then there were other people's like, man, I hate religion. I hate organized religion. I hate priests. They're all child molesters, that sort of thing. And it's like, and sometimes we have to take into account what our personal biases are as well. And I said, well, this is not, some priest that you knew. This is, somebody historical, and we want to look at him historically. What things did he seem to do well? What things did he not seem to do well? And all that gets a little tricky. But you could even include like, my first impression is because it's a priest, I don't trust him, or I do trust him, but be sure to go beyond that as well. Okay. All right. You guys can make a group me. You guys feel free. Do your thing. All right. Sorry, I was just checking the chat. All right. So I wonder if there's crud. I really should be smarter about this, but I wonder if there's a way for us to look at the Blackboard page. Let me see. Let me make that slightly smaller and move it. I'll try one more thing, and then if it doesn't work, I'll just go back to talking to you. Yeah, just talking. Oh, maybe. Let's see. Okay. All right. Now, granted, this is my version of the Blackboard page. I don't know that yours exactly looks the same. And you'll have to tell me when I click on different stuff. If you see it, I'll ask you. Okay. So you have your list of all the unit questions. Oh, I did call them unit questions. You have a sample weekly question answer. It's going to be from 1302, so you know, but it's still. You've got the document exercise question. You have the document here. You have the online quiz review here, and you have my lecture notes here. And then I also put in student resources from the textbook company. These are really mostly just outlines. Let me see if this opens, and you can, I'll show you that in a minute. They're mostly just outlines of the chapter. And then if you go to, and when I click on this, tell me if you can see it. When you go to assignments, can you guys see these? Did it show up? I assume it did. So the assignments page, it tells you when it's due, and then it has the assignment and the document there, and it reminds you to submit it as a PDF or a Word document. And you've got your Unit 1 question, submit a thorough answer for one question on the list, all work must be original. And then I don't think you'll be able to see this on your page. I know you can see it on my page, but the Unit 1 timed questions, I've posted those, but they won't be available until June 9th at 12:01 a.m. So, and if you go to course, we already looked at course documents. I really probably shouldn't click on too many other things, but on the syllabus, there should be the copy of the syllabus. I'll go back and make corrections there. And then you have other stuff too. You've got the announcements, and then I don't know what your Blackboard page looks like, but I have a grade center. I assume you have something similar. I'm absolutely not going to click on that because that'll reveal, you know, everybody's student ID numbers and stuff like that. But when you click on the grade center, you should get your grades. And if you click on those grades, you ought to be able to see the rubric detail in there. So once I've graded stuff, it should show you the comments that I've made about the things I've graded. Okay. It's good for me to know that I could share this. Yeah. All right. So, and I think that's everything that we need to see, but you really, 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 really have to log into Blackboard and make sure everything's good. So, and also the announcements that I put in. Oh, that's nice. Go away. Let me move you guys so I can close that. All right, I'll move you back. Okay, so all the announcements that I put in should be here, and then, oh, the test announcement doesn't show up, but the book, yeah, the ISBN is there as well. All right, I'll stop sharing. And then in a minute, we'll work on the poll before you go. And I know it's a little early. We could stay and talk about chapter 1, but I really sort of plan to do that more tomorrow and the next day. Not that I couldn't, I'm ready. I'm always ready to talk about history. I don't know, you know, where you guys are in that, in the scheme of things, because I did want to give you a chance to go and find the book, make sure you can log into the Blackboard page. We'll double check and make sure everybody's registered, because I know at least one of you I've got to look for. All right, so before I check the roll and before we go, which I know it's a little early, so I'm sorry. Before we go, do you guys have any questions you would like to ask today? Typically, first day, you really do just go over the syllabus. Gives you a chance to go get ready. Yeah. You guys have any questions? Yeah, somebody can stay and speak after class. And yeah, pretty much anytime, except when I have to go do the doctor's appointment tomorrow, I won't stay and speak to you after class. But yeah, if you want to stay after class, that's cool. And we can talk. It'll be good. All right. All right. And this will be tricky too. If a bunch of you want to stay, we may have to like take turns and I don't know, we'll figure something out. All right. Jack has made a group me. Look at that. I do recommend you read the chapter before the lecture. So I would try to read chapter 1 at least before Thursday. That's what I would try to do. Yeah. And it makes more sense because then I'll go over something you've just read about. So it's more likely to stick with you is why that's a good idea. I recognize it's not always possible. I do recognize that. All right, and don't leave because I've got to check the roll. So while you guys are talking about group me and stuff like this, I will see if I can find you. All right. Amber, your last name. Okay, I see Amber. All right, got it. Thank you. All right, dang it. Are you guys like me where no one ever calls you except when you're busy? My phone is ringing. It's like, what the heck is that? All right, and I have Brad. I have Tom. I got Cameron. You can tell me if I say your name poorly. It's never my goal, of course. Got Claire written down. Cohen. Got Christian Ortiz. Got okay, David. I'm super excited that I'm recording me taking roll as well. Derek. Okay, and Dylan's last name starts with B. Okay, so Dylan, I do not have you on the roll sheet that I posted or that I printed yesterday, so I gotta know your last name, so you gotta tell me. So you can either type it in. Thank you, I see it now. I'm a little slow, I get it. Yeah, and you can tell everyone or you can, yeah. And if you do a private, what is it called, a direct message, I'll try really hard to remember it's a direct message and not say it out loud, so I apologize. I would tell you I'm not going to do that, but I know that I am. It's not my goal. Okay, I'm at Jack Fisk now. That's all working out. And Jacqueline Nevada. Yeah, I forgot that. And Jonathan. Let me see. Jonathan, is your last name Miller? This is always tricky too because thanks. I know sometimes people log on and then they leave, and then it's like, oh crap. That's why you got to stay because I might ask you a random question in the middle of class. I know, no pressure at all. All right. I think I'm gonna have to reprint the. Leland, is your last name Smith? Okay. Luke Brown, okay, and then Milton. All right, scrolling down some more. Dang, there's a bunch of you people. And Olivia. Olivia, is it something that starts with a V? My printer wasn't good. Vestal, maybe? And then Rebecca. Alone. Rocky already got. Salem. Sandeep. All right, so there's like 3 of you that I don't have on my list, so I'll go back and double check. And maybe I just printed too soon. Maybe I didn't print yesterday. I thought I did. Must have been earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody asked a question. The quiz on a Wednesday, it's okay. So the Wednesday quizzes, those are multiple choice and they're about the unit. So you have 1 unit quiz, 25 questions. You've got in the course documents page, you've got a study sheet for the unit quiz. So look over that. It'll list some things you should probably study. And then you take the quiz. There's no separate test really. Yeah, it's just so short. I don't know why I didn't feel like calling it a test, but it's 25. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay. You're welcome. I lost my place. Oh, okay. Sandeep. That's who I didn't have. So 7. And Yumeng Mendoza. That. Okay. Now I am going to say out loud who I think isn't here. And if you're one of these people, just tell me that you're here. Okay. I don't see James Curtis. I did not see Roy Lopez. I did not see Osman Pacheco Hernandez. I did not see Joanna Reed. I did not see, oh my gosh, Joe Angel, there you are. Your last name's Salazar. Why didn't you tell me? Dang. Okay, I got you now. All right, we're good. Jacob Young, Jonathan Zhao. Those are the people I didn't see. Okay. All right. Okay, I think I got everybody. Goodness, I know we still have time, but okay. So, do you guys have any questions about any of the stuff? Where to get the book? What the book is? Where do I find the syllabus? I'll make those syllabus corrections. I'll probably do it right after class because that way I won't forget. You know how that is. So I'll go back and kind of edit stuff a little bit and maybe repost. Lecture notes are there. I'll start with chapter 1 tomorrow. Remember that tomorrow's class is going to be a little short because I have a doctor's appointment at 11 with not something that I planned. I ended up having the surgery I wasn't planning to have, and then they like to see you afterwards for some reason. So I'll do that tomorrow at 11. So we'll only have class till 10 tomorrow. After that, you know, I shouldn't have any more emergencies, but they're, you know, by their nature, emergency. So I'm not planning anymore. So hopefully I'll be more on track after that. So let me know if you have any questions. I know a couple of you wanted to stay and ask questions, and if you want to stay and ask questions, we'll work out, you know, who is doing what. I'll also stop recording. I should probably do that now anyway. Okay. And I'll post the recording on the YouTube page. It'll say something like summer 2021 1301, and it'll say June 1st class, something along those lines. All right.